Donald Trump is currently negotiating with Iran, hoping to reach a new nuclear deal. And some people are not happy about that. They include Fox News host, neocon pundit Mark Levin, who apparently visited the White House the other day to try to lobby Trump against reaching an agreement with Iran because, of course, Israel doesn't want that. And one person to sound the alarm about what Mark Levin and other neocons are up to and trying to sabotage these Iran talks is Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News host. This is what he wrote the other day. Mark Levin was at the White House lobbying for war with Iran. To be clear, Levin has no plans to fight in this or any other war. He's demanding that American troops do it. We need to stop Iran from building nuclear weapons. He and like-minded ideologues in Washington are now arguing. They're just weeks away. If this sounds familiar, it's because the same people have been making the same claims since at least the 1990s. It's a lie. In fact, there is zero credible intelligence that suggests Iran is anywhere near building a bomb or has plans to. None. Anyone who claims otherwise is ignorant or dishonest. If the U.S. government knew Iran was weeks away from possessing a nuclear weapon, we'd be at war already. So that's Tucker Carlson pushing back against the warmongers in Trump's circle who want to sabotage the current talks with Iran on a new nuclear deal. But Mark Levin and other Republican neocons are not alone. They also have assistance from Democrats, including the leading Democrat in the Senate, Chuck Schumer.
To negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran. Trump's all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous. We need to make that side deal public. Any side deal should be before Congress and, most importantly, the American people. If Taco Trump is already folding, the American public should know about it. No side deals.
Does he think people know Taco Trump is some stock market talk? Does he thinks people know that? That's what that is. Some Wall Street bullshit talk.
Taco
right?
Trump is Democrats, acronym for Trump always chickens out. So they're basically, they want him to not negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran, which, by the way, is what Obama did. That was like Obama's signature foreign policy achievement before Trump killed it. And now, basically, rather than defending the Obama policy, they want to continue the first Trump term policy of not having a nuclear deal with Iran. That's Chuck Schumer. Now, in fairness to the Democrats, Chuck Schumer was against the Obama deal back then. He's still against it now because he serves Israel. That's what he cares about. Look, right there, there's the AIPAC tracker noting that Chuck Schumer has received more than $1.7 million from the pro-Israel lobby over the course of his career. And he's not the only Democrat pushing against a new nuclear deal with Iran. This is from Just Foreign Policy. A group of extreme pro-Israel House Democrats have joined on to Chuck Schumer's call for no nuclear deal with Iran. And they're endorsing the neocon line, which is that Iran cannot enrich any uranium whatsoever, which they were allowed to do under the initial Iran nuclear deal. And they're insisting on having the right to do now. But these neocons on both the Republican side and the Democratic side, including Chuck Schumer and these House Democrats, are saying no enrichment whatsoever. And here's some of them. Dan Goldman's in there. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is in there. Ted Lieu is in there. There's Ted Lieu. So these are the people on both sides of the aisle joining together, joining hands to say, let's not have a nuclear deal with Iran, which means let's have a regime change war with Iran because that's what Israel wants.
Oh, you don't say. It's so I love the add-ons like before. Like, do you recognize Israel's right to exist? That's I remember them always saying that. Okay, I guess Hamas did that in 2016, as we know. All of a sudden, this new line as a Jewish state, they throw in a new line out of nowhere. That's this Iran deal. They can't have weapons. Okay, or they can't enrich any uranium. They just keep adding things on to create the situation they want.
That's exactly right. That's why the whole concept of Israel's right to exist was invented. It was to make sure that there would never be peace. Because if you're Palestinians, their leadership, starting with the PLO and then Hamas years later, they recognized that their best chances for peace would be to accept the Palestinian state, which means accepting also Israel. And after they started doing that, that's when Israel started saying, okay, not only do you have to just accept a Palestinian state and just 22% of your stolen homeland, you also have to recognize our right to exist on your stolen land. And if someone steals your land and then says, we are going to make ourselves the privileged residents of this land that we stole from you, who's going to say, yeah, I recognize your right to do that? No one will ever say, I recognize your right to steal my land and grant me lesser rights. They'll say, I recognize that I'm going to have to compromise and accept just 22% of the land you stole from me. But no one's going to say, yeah, I accept your right to do that. And that's why this whole right to exist concept was invented. It was to ensure that there would never be peace, so Israel can continue being perpetually at war and perpetually occupying Palestinians. And Chuck Schumer has been a leading campaigner for Israel throughout his career, and he's written a new book recently about supposed anti-Semitism, by which he means critical of Israel. But people are not taking it. This was a scene at a recent event that Chuck Schumer had to promote his anti-Semitism book.
Of the things about that I believe is an example of anti-Semitism is not believing there should be a state in Israel.
Schumer, what are you talking about? Children are being burned to death. Children are being starved in Gaza. The ICE is kidnapping people out of our streets and out of our courtrooms. What are you talking about? Free Palestine!
Screw you! You're a liar! Liar!
To be anti-Zionist, to not believe in the state, that the Jewish people should have a state, in my view, is a form of anti-Semitism.
Genocide is your legacy.
That's what he said.
Burn children
What he just said
alive.
is anti-Semitic.
What he just said is that, like, the guy in the audience is saying, like, your bombs are burning children, and he goes, what he just said is anti-Semitic. Honestly, if you wanted to promote anti-Semitism, I can't think of a better person to put forward to, like, as your spokesperson than Chuck Schumer, because he's a walking stereotype.
Well, isn't it considered treif to put cheese on raw hamburger meat? That cannot be kosher. Isn't that against Talmudic laws about putting the?
Yes, it is.
I know a little Judaism because I did a lot of a brisk trade in Bible pussy for a while.
Well, Chuck Schumer using his religion to promote not only a Jewish supremacist state committing genocide, but also to promote war with Iran and undermine diplomacy. And he's joined by many contemporaries in the Republican Party as well, showing where bipartisanship in Washington really lies. It's always with supporting Israel and undermining diplomacy.
There's no getting out of the new world order. Peter Thiel gave a really great interview about. He made it like it's a bad thing, but it's what he's doing now. Where he goes, yeah, you could have like the Antichrist from Thessaloniki. He's quoting script. Peter Thiel. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But all these maniacs is just when Bannon came out here and said they want to start this Venetian city-state crap. They're all, you'll notice, Zionist people that are in on that because they really like this idea of basically that's the section of deep state that beat the Kamala section. The Peter Thiel and the Larry Ellison, ex-CIA guy. They're all rabid Zionists, and they all have this awful oligarch thing that is probably going to be worse than what the wokies did.
Come see us on tour in Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.